Hello, I'm Mr. Polk and welcome to my kitchen. Today what I'd like to do is show you how to make homemade pancakes. And a lot of people, they make pancakes, they buy the mix, they pour the water in, shake it up, and they do their thing. But I'd like to show you how you can do it from scratch and how you can add a lot of different ingredients. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our bowl and we're going to do our dry. And this is like when I taught muffins and things. Pancakes are really a quick bread. So we're going to start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to use about a half teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of sugar. And then what's unique here is what really makes these pancakes nice and fluffy, they're so fluffy, is that we use 2 different leavenings. And you remember this from class. We're going to use the baking powder, okay, about 2 teaspoons, and that's going to react with the water, all right, with the milk, the liquid, and it's going to rise up when it gets hot because it's double acting. And then we're also going to put in baking soda. We're going to do about a teaspoon of baking soda. And baking soda is going to react with the acid, which is going to come from the milk. Okay? Well, actually, soured milk, and we'll talk about that in a second. So there's our dry. That looks good. And now for the wet, you're going to start with sour milk. Now, you always hear you go places and they say buttermilk pancakes. You can use buttermilk. If you're able to get buttermilk right now, that's great. I know a lot of places it might be tricky. But you can make, you can't make buttermilk, you can make a soured milk on your own. So this is 1½ cups of the whole milk, and then 2 teaspoons of white vinegar. And you could use lemon juice as well. And what you're going to notice, as soon as we pour that in and mix it together, as it sits for a little bit, it's going to start to sour. It's going to start to clump up. You're going to get some little chunkies in there. And that acid that we just added in with the milk is going to give it a little tangy flavor like buttermilk would, and it's also going to react with the baking soda. So while that's sitting there for a minute, we're going to throw in the rest of our wet, which would be our 2 eggs and our teaspoon of vanilla. Give that a little whisk. And then once I whisk that together, I'm going to put in the soured milk because it'll keep souring. It'll keep doing it. You can see right now, look at that, as you move it, you can see that on the surface of it, it starts to chunk up a little bit. And you want to gently mix those together. Remember not to go crazy. And then we'll finish with what really gives these pancakes a nice flavor is melted butter. And this is 2 ounces of melted butter there. And now the butter's funny. Remember when we made the muffins to use the melted butter? It gets all kind of chunky in with the egg and it just suspends the fat. And then what you're going to do is pour in, I don't know, maybe half of that mixture or so, and just start to gently mix it together. It'll start to get thick and clumpy, and then do another 1/4 or so. Bring that around. It starts to clump up on you. You just want to mix this till the lumps go away. You don't want to over mix it. And the lumps don't have to totally go away, just mostly. And then that was the rest of the liquid. And this is a really unique recipe, is that it will start to thicken up on you as it sits. You will notice that the vinegar, or if you use actual buttermilk. And it just makes a really nice batter. It's a little on the thicker side there for you, which means it's going to make a nice fluffy pancake. If for some reason, you always got to check batters. If it seems a little too thick, it's okay. Add a little touch of water, thin it back out. And now we're ready to start our pancakes. So what we're going to do is, there it is. It's about a 1/4 cup of batter. And I don't have a scoop here because I have my scoops at school and work and everything else. But I'm going to start with a little bit of clarified butter on the griddle. Okay. And again, you could use the spray, but I kind of like the clarified butter because it doesn't smoke up on you. It just does a really nice job. And we put it all over our griddle. And again, if you use the spray, you can do that. And now, what we're going to do is put in our batter. And I've got this at about 350. I'm going to check it. Yep. And I'm just going to take a scoop of it. And you can see that when you pour it out, just sort of kind of make that shape of a circle. If you have scoops, a little portioning scoop, they work great. And you can see that it already has changed consistency. It went from being thin to being kind of not so much thick as like a fluffed up thick. Okay. That one's a little smaller, it's okay. So I'm going to get a little bit more on this next one. There we go. Just making nice little small pancakes. You can make them as big as you want. But you're going to see the batter, if you can look in there, with the baking soda and the vinegar, it really starts to puff up on you and get a really nice reaction. And it's really going to make a nice fluffy looking pancake. Now, you can get creative with this. You know, once it's at this phase, if you wanted to add some blueberries, you know, push them in there. And the trick with pancakes is you cook them until you start to see bubbles. Now with this recipe, because it has so much air inside, and with using the double leavening, you're not going to see a ton of bubbles like you do on a thinner pancake batter. Maybe on this guy, we'll put some sprinkles. And then we'll do, everybody always likes their chocolate chip. I just press them in a little bit. Okay, now you can see they are starting to develop bubbles. Okay, they don't, like I said, they don't bubble like crazy because of all the leavening and the way it's set up, and it's a thick batter. But you're starting to see the bubbles, and they're coming up. Now what I like to do is just start to look at it. And we want it to get a nice golden color, okay, like that. Beautiful color. And then we're just going to keep checking our pancakes here. Okay, I think we can do that guy. These were last, these were the bigger ones, so that looks nice. Put him on there. And the other thing is too that the pancake gives a really nice crust with this batter. And we'll do the chocolate chip. Oh, lost one of our chippies. Okay, now for plating, I'm just going to kind of lay them up on the plate here. You could stack them, do like a short stack or whatever, but I'm just going to shingle them because they've got all different flavors. And all you want to do is cook them until they're cooked through in the center. One thing you can see, I don't know if you can kind of look in on the edge of the pancake, is you can really see how much it's puffed up. You can see that it has that ring, that like indentation, and that comes from puffing up on the one side and then flipping it over and puffing up again. And you really get a really nice rise out of using the two different types of leavening. And here you can see this side looks great color. I'm just going to set it on there for a minute. Here you can see the sprinkles, and they melt and get a little funky, but they blend in with the pancake. Here's our chocolate chips. Here's the one you have to be careful with because the chocolate chips have a tendency to burn. And then the blueberries just get nice and juicy. Okay. So then I'm just going to plate. Just going to do my plain and then my different flavors like that. And then I could finish this. Maybe a fancy little strawberry on the side. And finish it with your ramekin syrup. So now you can see how easy and fast it is to make pancakes at home. You can use the recipe that I provided, or if you want to use a mix, it's fine. But you can, try to get them nice and fluffy. You can add different things. You could even add savory stuff. You could put pieces of sausage in there, cooked sausage, pieces of bacon, and have more of a breakfasty, not obviously the breakfast or pancake, but more of like a breakfast sandwichy kind of thing. So there's just so much you can do. So thank you for cooking breakfast with me today. And I can't wait to cook with you real soon right here in Mr. Polk's Kitchen.